Hello, good morning, Love Wrestling. It is Thursday, January 16th. It is 10 a.m., and you all know the drill. You all know what that means. You see Drew, you see myself. It's AEW day here on Firmly Love Wrestling. We're going to dive in to some AEW. I was like, the colors don't make sense. And then I just changed it to blue, and now it all makes sense. Now it all makes sense.
I don't know what's going on with my color lately. I'm like,
you have like a, it
glowing
looks like
in some weird way.
Yeah.
I guess I am angelic.
Nice, yeah. I mean, after last night, I thought there'd be devilish fires.
Yeah.
But it's all right. It's all right. It's a new day.
Fernando,
it's a new day. Remember that song? Were you around for Legacy? With Cody, DiBiase, and Randy Orton. It's a new day. All right.
I know.
Anyway,
new day.
Yeah.
Longer new.
Well, that's not the new day that I know, but I'm good, Drew. We're chilling. I got my cold brew. I got my water. I'm ready to go. We were up till about 2 a.m. last night. It felt like chopping it up with our buddy Ryan over at the Mark Order Pod. We want to thank them.
A lot of fun. I was really happy
for inviting
to be there.
us over there. I've had the privilege of doing that show a handful of times or so as kind of a fill-in. Last night was your first time on there, and it was a lot of fun. So we want to thank Ryan and those guys over there for inviting us. Sunday Center. Drew, are you using a tooth? That looks good.
I fixed it.
Whatever you just did looks good.
I turned my light off.
There you go. So your light was messing up.
But the thing is that
okay, now you're good.
I've been using that light for a while now.
You probably just got to change the position of the light. Come from a different angle.
Nope.
You've changed the angle and moved all this every way you could.
Nope. Nothing has moved. I've had this in the same spot. I've had that in the same spot, and then all of a sudden, 2 weeks ago, it just looked terrible for some reason.
I don't know. Sunday Center's asking if you're using a 2006 flip phone for your camera. So that's what you have to
No,
say.
I'm not. I'm using a Logitech Brio.
Yeah, and then he says, I've been saying for years, the less light on Drew, the better he looks. I have a situation where I have two lights, right? I got one coming from this side and one coming from this side, but I feel like I'm too bright. Oh, no,
I don't think so at all.
Do I look good? I look the way I should. I always feel like I'm too bright. I'm too bright over here. It's too shiny. It's too shiny.
Now I feel too dark because I light it off.
I just think it's one of those things. I just think it's one of those things where, for anybody that does content or does whatever like that, you're just never happy with your lighting. That's the lighting is the one thing that it's you're never going to be. You're always going to think the lighting can be better. But anyway, I digress. Yeah. So thank you again to Ryan and the Mark Order gang for allowing us to fill in for Kate and Joe, even though Joe made an appearance on his birthday. It was good to see
happy
Joe.
Birthday to him.
But wow, Sinner, I don't know who paid Sinner, but he comes in here and he compliments me and does not compliment you. And it is, I don't mind.
I call him the thorn on my side for a reason.
I don't mind it. You know what I'm saying? Don't mind it. All right. I don't know where you want to start, Drew. Obviously, we're going to talk about Dynamite. It was maximum. Did you feel maximally carnagey enough last night, Drew? Was there enough carnage at a maximum level for you?
Do you want to start it already? Do we already want to do it?
I don't know. I'm just asking in general.
No.
Did you feel like the episode had enough maximum carnage?
I've noticed that the show names are not really, as I learned at World's End, they're not really reflective of what's supposed to be going on. It's not supposed to really give you the feeling of the name. It's really just a show with a name.
It's fair. So Sunday Center in the chat just said, I feel like this is 2 weeks of solid shows from AEW. And there was a second half to it.
Hold on, let me interrupt.
I agree with that. I feel like the last 2 episodes of Dynamite have been good.
If you watched the Mark Order podcast last night.
Oh God.
Which God help.
I mean, look, it was a great time, but Jesus, I felt you. I've been doing this for 3. I've been doing this for 3+ years, and I don't think I've ever been the shining light on a podcast. And last night, I was the shining light on the podcast because you guys were just woo. My God.
Even Ryan was coming with some negativity.
Ryan down.
Not as bad as me, though.
Ryan was starting to starting the show positive, and then you just went, here we go.
Yeah. Guys, let's have some real talk right now. Okay.
You said you weren't going to do this today. You said last night was where you were leaving it.
I know. Okay.
You said last night is where you were leaving. No, we can talk about it.
No. Okay.
No, because I do think we need to talk about it. Yeah, because Johnny says it right here. He says, good morning, all. Hoping to be here for the whole show. He goes, I am done with this Mox angle after last night. And even Sunday Center, the second half of his comment where he said, I thought it's been 2 good weeks. He did say the main event lacked. Now, here's my thing. I don't think the match lacked. I thought it was a good match. I thought Powerhouse Hobbs looked awesome in that match. He looked like he belonged in that match. He looked like a main eventer, future world champion in that match. But guess what? This is becoming very Roman Reigns bloodliney. The end of the match is bullshit with the Death Riders. They interfere, help Moxley win, and then it's the same stuff. They attack him after the match. They put the chair around his ankle, and they take him out, just like they've been doing. It's been the same thing again. I thought the match was actually pretty good. I liked the match. But
I did too.
But Johnny, I think you're supposed to have that reaction for Wheeler Yuta. That's why, you're supposed to, but I don't know. I feel like,
right.
Obviously that's the main event. We're obviously starting there. I mean, that's usually we go through the show, but it's the main event of it's the world title. It's the main event of the show. It's a good match. Hobbs looked awesome. But then at the end, it's the same stuff. It's Marina Shafir getting involved 2 or 3 times. It's Claudio. I mean, right at the beginning, they even teased it where they had Claudio, Pac, like they were up in on the ring apron and at the stage, and then that allowed Mox to come in and start attacking Hobbs in the match, and then they kind of dropped down or whatever. But they teased it at the beginning that it was going to be bullshit. We all knew it was going to be bullshit. And then at the end, it's the same stuff we've been seeing in every Mox match since this angle's really started. And it's one of those things now where I'm getting the vibe. Like, this is how we felt about Roman and a lot of his matches for a lot of the Bloodline was, oh yeah, it's going to be a pretty good match, but at the end, the Bloodline's coming out and he's going to win because they're going to help him win. And now it's the same thing. Oh, we know the match is going to be all right, but the Death Riders are going to come out and help him win. Like that, and we're in the same territory. And it feels like we're stuck in this angle. And we said it. We've been saying it for a while now. But again, last night, even though I thought the match was good, I was not negative on that main event. I liked the main event. Afterwards, I couldn't help but feel the same way about how I've been feeling about this angle is when are we getting to the next step in this angle? Because it's rinse and repeat. And it's been a while now. That was me trying to be as least negative about the Death Riders angle as I could be.
I very much appreciate it.
Thought the main event was good, Drew.
Yeah, I did.
Thought the match was good.
When I talk about it negatively, I'm not saying that I hate it. If I hated it, there would be no Firmly AEW. Or at least no Firmly AEW with me, because I would not be sitting here every week doing this. I don't watch things I hate.
You don't hate watch?
That's why
bro?
we
Doesn't
didn't
half
do
the world
Firmly
do that shit?
WWE at the same time.
Doesn't half the world hate watch things? You don't hate watch things?
No.
I feel like people I feel like that's how people operate, the way I see people comment about stuff online. I'm like, if you feel that way about it, why are you sitting there watching it?
Well, those people are stupid.
Just eventually, just don't watch it, bro. Like if it makes you that upset, it's probably not good for you. You can put something else on.
There was a person that I think was it yesterday? I think it might have been it was Tuesday. That I had literally seen the tweet of them was that they were like pretty much saying that they were hoping that AEW would fail just so
there's people
that WWE fans would get the monopoly that they want. And I'm like, if you're stooping that low.
Yeah, but people that tweet that though, they just want the engage that they're not.
I don't know. This person was kind of unhinged.
There's plenty, but I don't know. I feel like AEW they kind of deserve some of the stuff they're getting this week because we'll talk about it obviously with but
my point is that we're at a point in time right now where AEW has run cold. And the venue that they were at last night looked really cool.
Yeah, different.
It was very, very it was almost Hammerstein looking in the setup.
It was a theater, so it was like, it had like the balcony was like it didn't go up this way, it just went level up.
Like straight it was very unique looking.
And the really seats looked like you had your own little, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't like seat. It was like
I'm on a seat in that area.
Yeah, like you had your own awesome. little mini area, and then it was like the balcony seats looked spread out where you had your own area to breathe, and you had your own little like counter in front of you, kind of thing. It looked pretty cool.
Yeah, it did. It looked awesome. That is not the venue that a major wrestling company should want to be doing their biggest show on.
I agree.
Biggest weekly show. Sorry, not like big, not like all in. It's like 1,700 people.
Yeah, but that's all they. I mean, would you rather them do that last night, or would you rather them be renting out $14,000 arenas and having 3,000 people there? Like, what works better?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. They don't want to be where they're. I don't think they want to be where they're at. Anyway, I'm sure Tony wants to be kind of doing the not arenas, but doing the places they were doing the first couple years where they weren't maybe going, they would come to Boston. They're not going to the TD Garden. That's 15,000, 18,000 people. They're going to the secondary arena where the college team plays. That's 6,000 people, but they're selling it out.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's what they want, but they're not there. The ticket. And again, it's not their fault because prices are that's the way the country is and the world is.
The prices, I don't blame them for the prices. I do blame them for the reason. They're kind of the reason why there aren't 6,000 people wanting to buy tickets every week.
I agree. But at some point, I don't know. There's more factors than just AEW choosing how much their ticket price. But the ticket prices are too expensive for what you're getting at the show because the shows have not been consistently good for a while now. It's a lot of, it just feels like a hodgepodge of like, oh, we're throwing this together. Okay, here, there's no, and things like that. It's just they're in a rut and they've been in a rut for a while and they didn't do themselves any favors this week. Again, Dynamite was good last night. When we get into Dynamite, there is way more good than bad, in my opinion. But at the same time, the beginning of the week did not start well for AEW because they made a match announcement of a 12-man tag that is happening on Collision, which they're taping tonight in the same venue that they were in Dynamite. But so that was a music venue that held 4,500 people. That's what Fightful said last night because Sean was there. Sean was in attendance. He went live. And he was posting like pictures of the venue before and video of it before the show even started. And it looked very, very cool. And he even was like, this is a cool ass venue. But it can hold 4,500, but I do not believe they did that last night. They were whatever. I don't know. I don't really pay super duper attention of it, but they released a match that got a lot of buzz on the internet, not good buzz, Drew.
No.
Universally
critically acclaimed.
Yeah.
Or
not
acclaimed.
Not acclaimed.
No, the opposite of that.
Yeah.
Very opposite.
On Collision, we're getting a 12-man tag. I don't even know who's on the other team besides the Outrunners.
It
was Hobbs,
FTR,
the Outrunners, and
Hobbs
FTR.
And the Outrunners.
Yeah. So it is rated
hodgepodge.
Yeah. Rated FTR, the Outrunners, and Hobbs going up against the Learning Tree and the Death Riders. And the Death Riders are Moxley, Claudio, and Pac. And when that came out, it was pretty across the board that everybody was like, what the hell is this? What the hell is this? And I asked this to them. We do not love the Death Riders, David. I love the people that are in the Death Riders. Love Claudio, love Pac. I like Marina Shafir. I like Wheeler Yuta. Love Moxley. That angle is trash. Trash. Same crap for 2.5 months. Do something different. Anyway, but they announced that match. It felt pretty universal that everybody, when we all saw that match, we were like, what? What? And I asked it last night on Mark Order Pod. You and Ryan couldn't answer me. Nobody in the chat can answer me. So I'll ask our great chat. Explain to me, someone, somewhere. Tony, if you're listening, you can come on. I'll give you the link. Someone explain to me why the Death Riders would team up with anybody. With the angle and what we've seen, with them wanting to tear down AEW and bring the company down and rid it of all the things that make AEW bad. And why would they want to team with anybody? And why would anybody in AEW, whether you're a good guy, bad guy, I don't give a shit. Why would you want to team with the Death Riders? Even if you are Chris Jericho. Why would the Death Riders want to team up with any? Like, what? How does that make sense to what we have seen with the Death Riders story? That they would just all of a sudden be buddy and teaming. No, they haven't been buddy yet. But why would they be teaming up with anybody besides themselves? I have yet to see someone make it make sense to me. It just does not make sense. And then
So funny enough, last night there was a Chris Jericho New York Minute thing, and he had kind of like, we didn't talk about it last night, rightfully so, because who fucking cares? Oh, good, it's after 10 minutes. I had a look for, I was like, oh god. But he had like kind of mentioned teaming with Jon Moxley on Saturday.
Yeah.
For a brief moment in that thing, and was kind of like pensive about it. He wasn't like, yeah, we're teaming with, So, I mean, I guess that's good that they're not like happy, or he's not really like, not that he's not happy about it, but he's like being cautious about it.
Yeah.
I just really don't care.
it just is like, I don't know. To me, it's just like, whatever. It's a 12-man tag. And then it's like, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me at all. Do I think the match has a chance to be entertaining? I mean, yeah, maybe. I like the Outrunners. I mean, I like them. I like the guys that are in. It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. It misses the whole point of what you've been having us sit through for months and months and months when it comes to this. I'm at a loss for words because I can't even explain why this match would be made. I looked at it and I go, why was this match even made? It does not make sense. It's so bizarre. So that was going on. You had that started the week, and it did not start the week good. I do think last night's Dynamite, which we're going to dive into right now, was a good show. I thought it was a good show. But I don't understand the thought process in some of the things we are seeing in AEW currently. And I said it on Mark Order last night. I said, I've been watching wrestling for a long time. I've seen plenty of companies both major companies that I watch, I've seen them go through ruts. This is not just a particular thing, right? So I've seen them go through ruts, but it's kind of one of those things where I usually can decipher what's an angle of where they should go, things like I look at this and I go, I don't know why this stuff is happening. Are they just doing it to do it? Are they just doing it to I don't understand the logic behind it, I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, there's some sort of, and we were talking about this last night too. There's some sort of disconnect where it seems that people are just telling Tony Khan, "Hey, this is what we're doing," and Tony Khan's just saying, "Okay," and all of these angles, it's kind of like Codyverse-esque, where this story is running parallel to this story, which is running parallel to this story, and these stories are not connected. It's really like a soap opera. Okay, so pick your soap opera and a couple of characters. This family is fighting with this family, but then you've got this other thing going on that has nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
And it's like, but that's not what this is supposed to be. You're supposed to be telling a clear, concise, weekly television story.
Yeah.
And that's not what's been happening for a while now. Because when the Elite did their angle with Tony Khan last year,
yeah,
for a little while at least, it became a big deal, and it was like the main focus of the company.
Yep.
And they were doing, like that one week where they had an all Elite and theme, with the theme song with all the Elite.
Yes.
Entrance.
Yes.
And that was like NWO-esque, and it was like, that's cool. This is awesome. And then what happened with that. And then the Death Riders started, and it's like, oh, whoa, this is like a big, huge thing that, a bunch of people. And see, this is the problem with the Death Riders story in particular, is after like a month and a half, really by Full Gear, the story was completely different from what it originally was.
It was just weird.
They came out, they attack Brian at Wrestle Dream.
Yeah.
Put the bag over his head.
Yep.
This is not your company anymore. Then it leads to all of the young guys, Private Party, Daniel Garcia, Top Flight, Dark Order, who are not really young guys, but the lower card guys.
Mid-card, yeah.
Mid-card. And they're all trying to fight for the soul of AEW against the Death Riders. They're in the parking lot waiting for the Death Riders to show up to fight them, while Swerve and Hangman are doing their thing, and Jay White is doing his thing, and Orange Cassidy's doing his thing, and Ospreay's doing his thing. And the Elite dip. Well, the Bucks dip. They're gone. And Jack Perry loses his title at Full Gear. Goes away. Now we don't even know where he is. And then once Full Gear happened, all of a sudden, Moxley's cutting promos. Oh, the young guys don't want to step up. What are you talking about? They were literally the only ones in the parking lot waiting to fight you guys.
Yeah.
just a few weeks ago. What are you talking about? And it's just, I don't know if something was supposed to happen in the story that didn't end up happening. If there was supposed to be a Shane McMahon or somebody, a higher power, a greater good that was supposed to come in and be revealed that just didn't pan out for whatever reason. So they had to pivot. But the way they're pivoting sucks.
I don't know. They got to figure something out. Sunday Sinner in the chat says problem with AEW is when they start an angle, they do not have an end game planned out, and they just play it up. They just play it out, play it all by ear. And when you get in the middle of it like this, and it's tough to make sense of it. Again, obviously we started talking about the main event first, and again, you and I both liked the match. We both thought the match itself was good. I think the match was good. I think if anything, it showed that Hobbs belongs there. He belongs in the main event scene. He belongs fighting for world championships. He looked great in the match. He looked like he was going to win the match, and the crowd wanted him to. Johnny, I think to me right now, it still feels like to me that Darby is the guy. They have not convinced me that it's going to be anybody else but Darby being the guy that beats Moxley. And we talked about it last night. I feel like we are building, because if you've noticed, they've taken guys out, right? You put 10. Well, Lawrence, damn, dude. Sorry, brother.
Damn.
I don't even know. How are you not here? How are you
Lawrence,
here right now?
I could give you my PayPal if you'd like to just spend
$10,000. If you're giving money away, geez, I could have used like 2,500 of it. But anyway, it feels like to me, and we talked about it a little bit last night. I feel like we're going to be saying that phrase. Well, last night we talked about it because, it's very rare that we get to be on screen and talk about the stuff that we talk about now. We usually are talking about everything here for the first time. But it feels like to me that we're building towards whenever we get to whoever is going to beat Mox for that title, when we're at that match, all these guys that the Death Riders have taken out here, Orange Cassidy, Darby. I mean, I think Darby will be the guy in the match. But like they've taken out Orange Cassidy, they've taken out Darby, they took out Hobbs last night. When they wrestle these guys, they put the whether it's around their head or it's around their foot, like they take these guys out, and these guys have been injured and not really seen after Moxley wrestles them, right? I have a feeling that when we get to that match, whenever it is, my guess would be Double or Nothing. Like I think we're stuck in this I don't think it's ending at Revolution. I don't. It should. And I agree, Johnny. It should be Kenny. Kenny should be the guy. But they clearly have him coming back with well laid out plans, because the Okada match, they're not even thinking about until All In, which is in July. So if they already have a big time match for Kenny Omega against Okada booked for July, I don't think they're going to be doing like major shit with Kenny in a world title picture before. You know what I mean? It feels like,
that's not even for a world title.
Yeah. Like we have Kenny's plans laid out through July. Okay. Well, that tells me that Kenny's probably not going for the world title until he's done with that. If that's the plan, although I would love it to be, if Kenny was the world champ facing Okada, even if Okada's still the continental champ, okay. But it feels like it should be Kenny. Like once Kenny came back, and we're going to talk about him because he opened the show. But it feels like Kenny has brought a breath of fresh air back to AEW. Like at the beginning of that show, it felt like it was like, hell yeah, Kenny Omega's back. Like this is legit. This feels refreshing. It's good to see him back. And I'm not anti him going through the Callis family, but it feels like he should have come back and been like, no, I'm here to save AEW. I'm Kenny Omega. I am AEW. I'm here to save it. And it's like, okay, well, and he cut the promo. I'm not here for revenge. I'm not here for this. I could have died. I'm just here to enjoy being a wrestler still. Fine. Okay. No. You're an EVP. You've been there since day one. This guy who's trying to take down your company showed up on his day one and beat your ass. He beat your ass at Double or Nothing and attacked you. You've had a history with him. he should have been coming back immediately and saying, no, I came back because I'm here to save this company from people that are trying to tear it down. Like, that's what I think, Johnny. That's what I think. I think
you said that last night.
I said that last night. I said that makes perfect sense.
It makes perfect sense. It really does. And
Yep.
it's got that like 5-year tie-in to that original debut of his. And it really is like, listen, a lot of things were done probably not the best that they should have since the start of AEW. Like Kenny and the Bucks being EVPs. Why, listen, this is gonna start sounding like,
yeah, we don't have to go like all the way back with the history of AEW either. Like everybody know, you know what I mean?
No, yeah,
so
we all know.
I want you to say your point, but like we've all been around and we've seen how this is,
It's if this is just like Kenny going, nah, I don't want to be involved in this, I want to do something else. Yeah, I don't disagree. However, someone's got to be here telling everyone else what to do.
Yeah,
Like,
and
it should be
the boss. It should be the boss.
It should be. Right.
The boss needs to go, hey, Kenny, guess what? I know you don't want to do this, but you're fighting for the world championship.
And the boss should be like, hey, Darby, I know you want to do something that could potentially kill you, but I want to put the world title on you, so maybe you should focus on the world title instead of Mount Everest this year.
And it's just there needs to be a boss in the room, and it feels like there isn't a boss in the room. It feels like the boss just wants to be everybody's friend. The boss just wants to be everybody's friend and let everybody do what their plans are and not, I don't know if he's afraid of people leave. I don't know. But it feels like people go up to Tony and they go, hey, here's my idea. And Tony goes, okay, cool. Love it. Let's do it. And it's just like, okay, well, where are we going after that? We'll figure it out.
Yeah. It's true.
And that's what it feels like.
There's
like
too much of a friendship thing going on, which
that's what it feels like. Or it feels like
things that the likes of the Cornettes of the world and all these morons,
Yeah.
say.
But now these, and don't get me wrong, these guys are, I'm not going to say they're idiots. They have a lot of history in the business and they know more about the business than I ever will. But a lot of those things before, the Bischoffs, the Cornettes, those guys, those are targeted things. They obviously have an agenda against AEW. But the stuff that they've been saying, even though at the time I thought was stupid, now we're starting to see some of the stuff that they were saying actually come like to the surface. And not saying they're right, not saying I agree with the way they do things, because I don't. But go back and listen to some of those interviews and listen to the things they were saying. Now it feels like, now what they were saying, it's kind of happening. It's happening now. And again, I think those guys, for the most part, are bad for the way the agendas are with those guys, I think is bad for the business. Okay. But they also ran successful companies before. Like, they know more about running a wrestling business and company than you or I do, or any of us do, really. Maybe except our boss, because he's running one as well, pretty well. You know what I mean? But like,
yes, he is.
It's there are clear, and we said it last night, but there's clearly some issues here. No, it's not all bad. I thought we're going to dive into Dynamite right now.
Yeah.
And I thought Dynamite was a good show. And I thought for the second week in a row, it's a good show. I was entertained more than I wasn't entertained last night. But you can tell there is a looming issue going on here. And I can't really put my finger on it. We can tell what the issue is. The booking is not, there's just things happening that don't make sense at all, like very badly. But at the same time, I don't know how, I don't know why or how, or it's just, and as somebody who has been an AEW advocate since before day one, I've had a show on Love Wrestling revolving around AEW since the time I've been here. It was the War Report at first. And then, me and Pluggo made sure on Beards every week we were talking AEW. regularly than it was you and
You
me
came to
for the
me
last. Yes. Like
to
I
ask
love
me to do an
yes.
AEW show with you.
Yeah. I love AEW. I love that there's two different kinds of wrestling. Like, you can get your whatever. I love the variety of it compared to WWE. I love both companies, but they are clearly struggling, and they've been struggling for a while. And you're seeing it. I don't pay attention to ratings. I don't give a shit about ratings.
Yeah,
but you can see it with ticket. You can see it with the ticket sales.
Stuff.
I will look at ticket sales and say that's a problem.
Yeah.
Way more than I will ratings, because it is what it is. And now with the streaming shit, it's all nonsense. It doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter anymore. It didn't matter to me at all to begin with, but now it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
But when you see that AEW 3, 4, 5 years ago, before the pandemic, and even right out of the pandemic, were selling out arenas, the first time they went to the TD Garden for Blood and Guts, it wasn't for Mercedes, for Blood and Guts. They sold out the TD Garden. 14,000 people were there. I was in the building. They sold it out. And now they can't sell out a 45 seat theater. That's a problem. That is a problem. That is way more of a problem to me than a rating. You know what I mean?
Right, because that's how you're making money now.
AEW is if you're a wrestling fan and AEW is having their weekly main show in your town, you should want to go see that.
Yeah.
Period.
People don't. WBD gives them the money to pay people. The ticket prices on the merch, the ticket sales and the merch sales and everything, that's to recuperate. Now, if you're not getting people to your shows and you're running small arenas already, that's a problem.
Yeah. And we've talked about the other issues. We've talked about the lack of advertising. We've talked about the lack of things like that I think they still need to get better at. Again, if Dynamite is coming to Cincinnati, Ohio, the last month on Cincinnati local TV, on Cincinnati local radio, there should have been commercials, every commercial. Hey, AEW Dynamite's coming to town. Wednesday, blah, 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 blah. Get your tickets here.
I do think that they are doing a little better with the advertising. Yeah. Because like Mercedes being on Sherry Shepherd's show, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
With all her titles and everything. And they do have like Chris, it had to be Chris Jericho, of course. Chris Jericho was on Good Day New York when they came to Hammerstein.
And that's what you need to do. But are they doing that everywhere? Because I'll tell you this, they were in Manchester, New Hampshire, and Boston not that long ago, or Springfield, Massachusetts, not that long ago, within 2 or 3 months ago. Manchester, New Hampshire is 30 minutes away from me. Springfield, Mass is a little bit longer of a drive, but within driving distance for me. And I heard almost no radio commercials leading up to it. I saw no commercials on the TV about it. There were no wrestlers that had phone interviews or radio interviews with the big time radio stations promoting it the week before. Nothing still. And that you got to do it, man. You got to do it. Dan, I'm not a big ratings guy, but ticket sales, yeah, I agree. But anyway, we talked about it a lot last night in the Mark Order Pod. We've obviously talked about it here the first 40 minutes, but like we have been saying, we both thought that Dynamite last night was a good show. So we're gonna dive into it now. If you are watching, hit that thumbs up, give us a like on the video, hit the bell for notifications so you get the notifications so you can come back when we're doing any of our cool shows here on Love Wrestling.
Which you can see.
Yes, we got a little ticker
on the screen.
Yeah, obviously the stuff before Thursday already has happened, but you can go on our YouTube and see all this cool stuff. But yes, we got a ticker with all the big things happening this week and things of that nature. So if you click that bell for notification, you hit that like button, does us a lot of favors. It helps share us out some more and things of that nature. All right. So Dynamite, Cincinnati, Ohio last night, Maximum Carnage. And the show started out with the in-ring AEW return of Kenny Omega. And he went one-on-one with Brian Cage. Once this match was announced, I knew it was going to be I knew it was going to be as good as it was last night, because this was a great opening match. This was a great opening match between Brian Cage and Kenny Omega. I feel like Brian Cage, again, because of the booking for the most part, but I feel like Brian Cage is somebody who doesn't get enough appreciation as he should, because for a guy his size, he has no business being as nimble, as agile, and just as good in the ring athletically than he is. That guy is a monster of a man, and he can do shit that he should not be able to do. This was a very good match. This was a very good match between him and Kenny Omega. And the pop that the crowd did when Omega got him up for the one-winged angel, it was like, oh man, dude, unbelievable.
That's where a smaller arena that's full helps you out, because the past couple weeks, these crowds have sounded awesome, and that's been desperately needed lately.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. But I thought this was a great, great opening match. Kenny looked good. He looked healthy. He looked like he's ready to go. I said it, it was a breath of fresh air, but it is so friggin' good, Drew, to see Kenny Omega back. It is so good.
I'm still not quite feeling that new music yet, but it'll grow.
It's different. Yeah, I liked his old tune. I liked his own tune. I thought it was like kind of perfect to get the crowd really jacked up, the build in his old song. But yeah, Kenny Omega being back is just, it's so good. He was so missed, and he was out for so long. And now you're just seeing him have that type of match. And you knew it was going to be a good match. The match he had with Gabe Kidd was incredible at Wrestle Kingdom. If you have not seen that match with Gabe Kidd at Wrestle Kingdom, you go out of your way, take 35 minutes and watch that match, because it is one of the best matches you'll see. And at the end of the year, it will be still a match of the year candidate.
Yeah.
So good.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So good. So I knew this match was going to be good. It was good, but again, it's so good seeing him. And then after the match, the Callis family attacks. They start beating down Kenny, and Will Ospreay, for the second week in a row, makes the save. Him and Kenny, kind of at first, they send Lance Archer and Brian Cage kind of packing. They're kind of working it. And Kyle, they're looking good. But then the numbers game, Takeshita shows up, and clearly it looked like we're getting to the direction where we might see Takeshita versus Omega here, which, sign me up. So Takeshita comes out. He holds the championship up in front of Kenny. They start brawling. Fletcher gets back in there. He hits a half Nelson suplex on Omega. Then the numbers game comes, and actually this segment ends with Ospreay and Omega being laid out by the Callis family as they leave ringside. So last week we saw Ospreay save Omega, and the baby faces stood tall. Today, after the match, we see the same thing, but now Callis's group and the heels leave the baby faces laying.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you feel about the post-match stuff?
Good. I felt good. I like while I was initially like, oh God, he's going to be feuding with the Don Callis family again.
Yeah.
I like the story that they're starting to or rather not just tell, but continue with Kenny and Will being, the 1A and 1B of New Japan Pro Wrestling. I think that interwoven with both of them having issues with Don Callis, I think that's working. And honestly, I think this is the best the Don Callis family has ever looked with any iteration of the Don Callis family.
Yeah, I like
how Fletcher turned heel. I think it's really like
I like the group they have. I like the group they have. They have legit, like, obviously Kyle Fletcher has become a main level star for them. Takeshita is one of the best wrestlers in the world. So isn't Kyle, but Takeshita is one of the best wrestlers in the world. And I really like how they've featured Lance Archer and Brian Cage since they've joined the Callis family, because that's a tag. They should be a tag team, and they should be, I know they're on Ring of Honor, but to me, Lance Archer and Brian Cage, you can kind of resurrect. Remember when Brian Cage was teaming with Big Bill? and the crowd was just so into it.
Crowd
because
was
it was
very much
just
into that.
two big, meaty men just destroying people. Now, Lance Archer is not as over as Big Bill is. We have seen clearly now there's enough example that the crowd just loves Big Bill. They just love Big Bill, no matter what he's doing. Big Bill's over. But I think you could really have Brian Cage and Lance Archer be this kind of monster, giant, meaty men tag team and run through the tag team division, and the crowd would eat that shit up. The crowd would eat that shit up.
Absolutely.
You could really lean
that
into
one
that.
Of the shows, actually, I think with the Albany one, where Bill and Brian were in a match together. I don't know if it was a tag match or if it was they were doing some sort of multi-man thing.
Yeah.
And everyone was really loud for both of them. So it is definitely, there is a big meaty men
absolutely
division in this company that people are really clamoring for. So they should lean into it.
You should lean into it. All right. We then got a brief promo for MVP. They were talking up his AEW in-ring debut, his first match in over 2.5 years. Then we got a Chris Jericho and Learning Tree in a New York Minute. They're talking. He's saying he's going to guarantee that he and Jon Moxley will be on the same page for their match on Collision. They better not be, but we'll see. And then we have Ricochet. So Ricochet makes his entrance, getting booed out of the building, but he's taking it. He's like, yeah, come on, give it to me. Like, I'm here for it. He's soaking it in, soaking in the booze and the atmosphere for the crowd.
What I like particularly about it, and we touched on it last night, is how much he is upset that he's getting booed, not because he's getting booed.
Yeah.
But because he's getting booed for not being cool.
Yeah.
Like, he thinks he's so cool, and the crowd is like, no, you're not. And he's pissed off about it. Like, that I think is that extra tweak in the character that is really shining right now. And I love this so much.
I do too. And David, you're right on. You're right on. And it's so, it's so different because in my fandom of wrestling, the only Ricochet I've ever seen is the babyface Ricochet.
Yeah.
So this is the first time I've really seen him as a heel, and it's early, but he's crushing it. Yes, he does. And, so he gets in there, he's kind of soaking up the atmosphere, for a good amount of time too. And then he calls up the picture of him stabbing Swerve with the scissors on the Tron. And then you hear Swerve's music hit. And Ricochet's facing the stage. He's ready for Swerve to come down. And out of nowhere, Prince Nana appears with a chair behind Ricochet. He hits him and immediately goes into the dance. Immediately after he hits him with the chair. That was good stuff. That was funny. And then this was a beautiful camera angle. But they showed a camera angle and you could see Swerve just stalking. Like he's stalking his prey. Like a wild animal. Like just slowly. And then Ricochet bolts and kind of... He gets away. But that camera angle showing Swerve just kind of stalking in the background, looking like a psychopath, really.
Yeah.
That was a really good shot. And
I don't remember if it was you or Ryan that said this last night.
I said, because we know
that
Ricochet that Swerve can get to that level because we've seen him be a crazy person.
Yes, right.
So it makes perfect sense that, he's good guy Swerve. All right, we all like Swerve. We root for him now. He's a good guy. But we've seen he broke into someone's house and stood over their infant child's crib talking about how he was going to kill their dad. We've seen him do that.
Yep.
We've seen him have these matches with Hangman Adam Page. We know he's the Nick Wayne one. That I mentioned this last night too. The Nick Wayne one that is so far along, nobody really people remember it, but when he went into Nick Wayne's house and bloodied him up in the ring with AR Fox filming it and laughing, and that was psychopath shit. That was serial killer psychopath shit.
Some people also don't remember the Billy Gunn.
Yes,
segment.
when he kidnapped Billy Gunn.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Tied up and duct taped. We've seen Swerve be that guy. So it's one of those things where Ricochet went to that level with the scissors. That was a level that I thought Ricochet was going to be a heel. I didn't know he was going to be this kind of, I thought he was going to be a nerdy, why don't you people like me heel? I'm cool, which it's kind of there. But then there's this other side of it where he's like, but I'm also a psychopath.
He's nerdy. He is the nerdy American Psycho. That's what I said last night. It's like he's playing the American Psycho character, but the glasses, the suit, not the suit in general, but the style of suit. It's this like hipstery, flashy, with the glasses that he doesn't need because he doesn't need glasses. That hipster, like nerdy suit.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's like cool, but the crowd booing him, he is just, he's so, he's bringing a mic up to his mouth and they start booing relentlessly. And he's just, you could see the anger in his face. Like, why? It's almost like, why are you booing me and cheering this guy who's even more of a psychopath than I am? I'm the cool guy. He's the psychopath.
Yeah. It's really good.
I don't remember who it was when Ricochet initially did the scissor spot. Somebody said that like he looked, with the glasses on and the way his face looked like an 80s serial killer. Like a sketch, like a police sketch, like a serial killer from back then.
100%.
I think it looks so good on him. It just works perfectly, and I'm really happy that we're getting this new Ricochet. I almost wish that he's got the same music, and I think even though he's a heel, I think the music actually works.
I think them adding the laugh at the beginning kind of helps a little bit. They added that like at the beginning, and then it kind of goes into
did that play last night? The laugh also?
I don't remember. I know it happened during the Gauntlet match last week, but
because they had
they did the swerve. They did the swerve thing. Yeah.
If they add the laugh permanently, I think that works very
great.
I
think so.
I almost kind of wish that he just goes by Trevor and not Ricochet.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But it's very good. It's very good. I'm very much leading into it. Johnny even says it. He says that this is another angle that can extend to the Hangman level. And it's like, yeah, that's where they're going.
Yeah.
It's going to be Swerve and Ricochet in some sort of gruesome, they're doing Texas Death with Hangman and Christopher Daniels. So I don't know if you want to double that up so quickly, but it's going to be some sort of violent match. Something. It's going to be to that level. So yeah, I'm all in.
And actually, the way that they're playing it, of Ricochet coming through the crowd to attack him and dip, and then Ricochet scurrying away.
Yes,
they are kind of like setting up a possibility of, oh well, you know what we need? We need a steel cage match.
100%.
Can't get away.
100%. And it's one of those things where I also think it'll be good. I kind of feel like in wrestling, sometimes. All right. How do I say this? Sometimes you need to see wrestlers like Ricochet have a violent match. You know what I mean? Like in WWE.
You remember, I wanted him to be in the Blood and Guts match list.
Yeah. So remember WWE, right? Young Randy Orton. They were like, hey, you need to have a violent match with Mick Foley. Go go have a brutal match where you get bloodied up. You go in the tacks. The fans will respect you more. They'll still boo you because you're a bad guy, but they'll respect you more because they've seen, and they did it with Edge at WrestleMania with Mick Foley as well. To me, Ricochet, yes, I love the heel turn. It's dark. It's dastardly. It's like a psychopath stuff. I love it. But I also want to see him getting some brutal stuff, like where he's doing like hardcore shit.
Yeah.
Because that'll bring it to a different level where it's like, oh, damn, dude.
He's always wrestled in the way that he's wrestled, but he's also always been a babyface as far as. But maybe he was a heel like way back in New Japan or something. But I would love to just see a brand new Ricochet, where it's like not even calling himself Ricochet. and like leave because he's been known for so long
Mhm.
as babyface flippy Ricochet.
Mhm.
I feel like his heel character should just be completely different, total opposite of that. He shouldn't
Mhm.
be Ricochet, he should be Trevor. He shouldn't be a flippy guy. He should, like it feels like this would really I mean, this is just me and me being nitpicky. I
You
love
being
what's
nitpicky?
happening.
No way. No way. No way. You nitpicky? No, can't be true.
This is my favorite version of Ricochet. So I'm not complaining if they don't do the
I don't
things I'm
even think
saying.
I don't even think we're still on the way, man. I think we're still on the way when it comes to him. I don't think this is the final like I think we're in obviously he's a heel now, but like I don't think we're at the final destination of what this character is. I think there's more to it than what we've even seen
Yeah,
yet.
because we've got to see now his reaction,
Yes, I think there is more to
response.
this level of heel turn, Asian Joe says glad they can build mid-card feuds better than championship title stories.
Yeah.
We spent the first 45 plus minutes talking about that, Joe. Yeah, that is a good point. That is a good point. All right. Then we actually get, well, no, before we got the the trios match and MVP's debut, we did get a very good, and we were both high on this, but you were very high on this, so I'll let you talk about it. We did get a very good day in the life of the CEO vignette with Mercedes Moné. I thought it was one of the better things of this nature they've done with her. I've been really digging what they've been doing with her for the last 2.5 months now. I think she's really settled into like her meat and potatoes of what she is like in AEW.
Yeah.
She's feeling it. You can
Ever
tell
since the
she's
Camille
feeling it.
thing,
Ever
that was
since the
like,
Camille thing stopped, her first match with Statlander, like she's feeling it, and she's having great matches all over the world. She's collecting belts all over the world. Like she is in her bag, as the kids say. Like she's in it right now. And this is the Mercedes I think we were all expecting from day one that we did not get until day 200.
right. Yeah.
But this is what we were expecting. But yeah, we both did, but you really, really like this.
Yeah, because it was what her presentation should have been from the beginning. And obviously now it's even heightened with her having these titles because it makes it more. I've since the start of this, I had been kind of down on the CEO thing specifically because it just had that WWE-esque, every time she gets interviewed, every time she's coming out to the ring, her literal first line always has to be say hello to your CEO. And it's just like, can we just not? Like, you can call yourself a CEO, you can just weave it into your lines, whatever you're saying. We don't have to hit the bullet point, the script every time the first line say hello to your CEO because it just gets redundant, you know. So this version of the CEO, this hits for me 100.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Showing her in this like nitty gritty roughhousing with
Like,
the trainers and the
yeah, like this
ring.
dingy gym, like
Yeah,
this
like
dingy old school
the style that they're shooting
warehouse.
it in,
Yeah.
seeing her on the Sherry Shepherd show, Sherry holding one of the titles, the host being interested in this stuff, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
That's what
I
you
don't know
want.
who that person is. So that
Sherry
means
Shepherd.
I have no idea who that is.
She was
Literally.
on The
No.
View for a while and
Yeah,
something else.
that's why I have no idea who that is. But I assume I assume it's a popular show she was on. Like that's a show that is a big show. I don't know. But
Sherry Shepherd replaced Wendy Williams.
okay, I know who Wendy Williams is. Good or bad. But I know who she is. But but yeah, I thought that this is I would have much rather they did more of this stuff than some of the promos they had her cutting
Yes, absolutely.
earlier when it was kind of like, okay, like I would have rather them just do it this way and have a day in the life of the CEO segment weekly or bi-weekly instead of having her out. And I get it. She's a big star. You want her out in front of the crowd. I understand that. But you know what? The crowd wants to see her wrestle. They don't want to see her talk. They want to see her wrestle because that's where her bread and butter is. So
and if she has to talk, this is the perfect way to do it.
Exactly.
Perfect.
Exactly. So I felt like they should have dug into this type of thing more, and then just had her wrestling more from the start. I think they could have, and look, we're at a good place with Mercedes. I really think we're at a good, like, this is what we want. And it's clear that she is one of, if not the best thing going in the women's division, like, and she has been for a few months now. Like this is what we wanted. I feel like when she first debuted, it should have been more of this. It should have been more of this, and then have her wrestling more often on your shows. Because she's going to, once she starts wrestling regularly and like having these matches, that's going to get her over on itself. Because there's haters out there, but you can't, if you are objectively, you can't deny how good, like, you just can't. So hopefully they kind of lean into this more, because this was good stuff. All right, then we have our trios match. It is the AEW in-ring debut for MVP as the Hurt Syndicate goes up against Mark Briscoe and Private Party. I mean, I thought this match was fine. I thought this match was good. I was good to see MVP in there chopping it up and wrestling, and that was fun. He looked good. He looked good in this match. But this was one of those matches that you knew Hurt Syndicate was going to win, because they're apparently going after the tag titles, which I look at. If they're not going to be involved in upper mid card titles or world championship stuff, them running through the tag division for 4, 5, 6 months, I have no problem with. I have no problem with it.
Absolutely not.
I do feel bad for Private Party, because I do feel like their days are numbered. Yep, David. And I do feel like their days are numbered, and I don't feel like they had a proper title reign after, you built to that moment where they finally won the title, and then it really just hasn't lived up afterwards. And I don't think they've been done a good deal afterwards. So I do feel bad for Private Party, because I cannot envision a way that they beat the Hurt Syndicate when those titles are on. I just can't. Unless there's an interference from somebody that we're not thinking about, because Swerve is tied up in other shit now. So it's not going to be Swerve. Unless there's an interference from someone or something, I just think that the Hurt Business are just on their way to getting those belts whenever they want them. And they're, which I don't think it's a bad thing, but poor Private Party. They deserve better. They deserve better. But again, overall, I thought this was a pretty decent trios match. It served its purpose. It furthers the story of the Hurt Syndicate, getting towards Private Party in the tag titles. And Mark Briscoe is always a ball of fun. I love that guy.
Yeah. He is.
I said it, but I don't know how anybody isn't just smiling ear to ear when you watch Mark Briscoe. Like, he just brings me so much joy. Just hearing him cut promos, watching him in the ring, watching the way the crowd react. Like, he just makes me smile. He just makes me smile.
And MVP here was really good.
He was.
I have not seen him wrestle for a long time, and this was really awesome. And I said last night, if they utilize him more in this way, I'm completely fine with it just being the three of them and not adding another person to the Hurt Syndicate.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Because he can be that extra guy if they need a trios match. So hell, make him trios champion. Fuck it.
Yeah,
that would be amazing.
I mean, I'd be okay with them being trios champs too if they wanted to go that route. I think they're going the tag. Obviously, they're going the tag title route first. But I would have been perfectly okay with them trios. And like, I know they're bad guys, but like Hurt Syndicate versus the Death Riders, okay. That would be something that would make me give a shit.
In WWE, it was the Hurt Business that stepped to Retribution before any other person on that roster when that was happening during the pandemic. So it's not like it's unlike them to do something like that.
I agree. But we'll have to see where it goes. All right. Now it's time for the Jeff Jarrett MJF segment. There was a good amount of stuff I liked in this segment. I thought a lot of stuff was unnecessary. This was a This segment went for about 14 minutes. It went longer than the Casino Gauntlet match, this segment. Part of the problem.
Now, did that include the after with Dustin, or are you just talking about
this,
just with
MJF? This in-ring segment with MJF and Jeff Jarrett, which, again, I thought there was good and I thought there was bad in this from both. There were segments where I loved what MJF was saying, and then there were segments where I said, no, that was kind of shitty and not great. And then Jeff Jarrett, the same. I liked some of it. I hated some of it. But this segment with Jeff Jarrett and MJF went longer than the women's gauntlet match. Yeah. This segment was about 6 to 7 minutes too long. You could have cut about half the shit out of it, and you could have got probably a more cohesive segment. With that being said, though, I still really like this pairing of MJF versus Jeff Jarrett. I still really feel like this is a good pairing for both of them. But there was a lot of not great stuff in here. But Jeff Jarrett comes out. He says he's been humbled the last few weeks, and MJF comes out immediately. And I liked this part from MJF. He says that, he says, hey, you need to learn the definition of the word humbling. And he says, you have the audacity to turn me down. And then, Jarrett kind of leans in some more. He says, no, you were lazy. You could have entered the gauntlet match last week, but you didn't. You wanted to take the shortcut and try to make an arrangement. Yeah, this was, Ophelia says, this was longer than every match, not just the Casino Gauntlet match. This was the longest segment
even
on
longer
the
than
show.
The main event?
Yeah, from a time-wise perspective. Wow. Yeah. So, he leans into that. But then MJF says, I want to school everybody here on the real history of the Last Outlaw. He goes, Double J is the last thing you see before your favorite wrestling company dies. This is where MJF was real good here, because I like that. I like that a lot. He says the whole last year would have been cuter and warmer and fuzzier if he wasn't literally the pro wrestling Grim Reaper. He calls Jeff an alcoholic. We've seen him do that before. That was kind of whatever. But he calls Jeff an alcoholic. He says, for the health of this company, I'm going to send you back to rehab where you belong. And this is where it gets kind of, it's MJF. So, and I know you're not again, I'm not like down on this, and I expect it from MJF. I didn't mind when MJF was taking the low blow shots, like, below the belt stuff, because MJF always does that. The problem where I had it is when they had kind of Jeff Jarrett trying to like stoop down to his level. I was like, that to me, whatever. But MJF makes a crack at Karen, calls her a MILF, says that he's a big fan of hers. And he says, but don't worry. When I'm done with her, I'll send her back to you. And the line was, so you can be the first man in history to know what a generational talent and an Olympic gold medalist balls taste like. That was the line. Not a bad line. I get it. All right. Not a bad line. Coming from MJF, it's an expected line, I feel like. Yeah. So then Jarrett interrupts him. He's like, oh, you're crude. You're stupid. Everything you're telling me right now, it's been said 1,000 times. He goes, but let's get to the heart of the matter. He goes, I know the best years of my career are behind me. I know that. He goes, but when I entered the Owen Hart Cup last summer, the AEW fan base awakened a passion in me and that I didn't even know I still had. And he goes, I'm going to do everything in my power to keep that going because it's what's going to keep me on track to become the AEW World Champion. He goes, but back to your shtick. He goes, you think you're going to come out here, you're going to poke fun at me, hurt my feelings. He goes, but I was doing this shit before you were even you. I was doing that type of stuff before you were even you. He goes, everything I do, he goes, everything you do, I did before you. And I did it better than you.
Better than you.
Which Jeff Jarrett was still good at that. Like, this was still good from Jarrett's perspective, in my opinion. And he said, but before you get, bent all out of shape, whatever. And then Jarrett starts kind of stooping down to MJF's level. And I wouldn't say we have a disagreement here, but I think you look at it from a different perspective than I do. I was just like, I just felt like it was first of all, Jeff, I know you're like 70, Jarrett. Call girl. Like, this is not 1980s anymore. Like, come up with a new, a different call girl.
That was really my only issue with it.
Call girl. What are we talking about? But he calls MJF's mom a call girl multiple times. He says his dad is like a sleazeball and a cheat. He kind of digs into that. To which it gets under MJF's skin. It gets under his skin. It works. MJF is acting the part. He says that MJF needs him because he's drowning in his own shit. He says Max may be lazy. He might be an entitled prick, but at the very core, he's a scared little boy. Scared that his best years are behind him, and scared to death that he'll never be on top again, and scared to death that he'll be what Jarrett called him last week, a one-hit wonder. That part, again, I like from Jarrett. And then this was the part from MJF that I really liked, is when he leaned into the Owen Hart stuff. I thought that this was good stuff. Yeah. MJF, he starts going, yeah, you talk about the Owen Hart Cup. MJF at first, he's like, I'm nothing like you. I didn't need my daddy or my own company to put me over. He goes, I made me. And he goes, we know you're the king of the mountain. He goes, but what happens when I'm on top? 82,000 people in Wembley. That's what happens when I'm on top. He goes, record ticket sales, record ratings, the best in the world, and I got screwed. My name and reputation got dragged through the mud. And he says, I'm going to win the title and shove it down everybody's throat. But in the meantime, I have to wait in line for Jeff Jarrett. That's who I got to wait behind. He goes, these people aren't very bright, and with all due respect, no wrestling fan has ever given a single solitary shit about Jeff Jarrett. He goes, but just because you're best friends
Sunday
with
Center,
Owen,
hopefully you're still here to hear
I
that.
know. And he goes, but just because you're best friends with Owen Hart, you think that you're owed a grand finale? He goes, I see through your bull. He goes, you're a succubus riding the coattails of your deceased friend. And then Jarrett snaps. Tackles him, punches him. They brawl for a little bit. They get separated. Then Karen Jarrett gets in the ring, and she pulls Jeff off of MJF. And then Jarrett kind of gets separated by a few security guys. Karen's kind of in the ring, but more towards MJF. And MJF grabs Karen and holds her like a hostage so he can get closer to the ropes and get the hell out of there. And he kind of throws her to the ground. She's screaming. Jeff Jarrett is obviously super pissed that MJF put hands on his wife. And that's how it ended. It ended. Again, some good. I'm not going to say some bad. I just think some unnecessary things. I understand why that happened. It's very MJF.
It's a little bit of a.
It's very
not
MJF,
very different. Our opinion isn't really that it's different. It is that there's that slight little disagreement on the perception of it.
Yeah. For me, okay, sorry. I want you to go. But for me, the main egregious point of this was this segment was way too long. I feel like this could have been cut by 5 minutes, man. And it would have got, I just felt like this should not have been the longest segment on the show. That's really my main gripe, more than the stuff that was talked about. Again, it's MJF, dude. MJF, to me, has said worse shit than what he said last night. Way worse in the time that he's been in AEW. Like, he has openly said worse things. So I didn't, it is what it is. I thought a lot of it was unnecessary. Really, the thing that for me was the most is the segment was just way too long, dude. We do not need a 15-minute promo segment with Jeff Jarrett in 2025. We do not. We just do not.
Yeah. So my thing in this was that what I was saying last night is that it's not. I didn't consider it stooping low in a negative sense. I thought that it was Jarrett mentioning MJF's mom and dad, the way that they were being mentioned, was the dose of medicine being thrown back at him. Because he's, people talk about, oh, he can't keep a love life, and everyone hates him. Those are like the
He's a
standard things
prick.
that you can hit.
Like, yeah, all it's the same, 3 or 4 things all the time.
Nobody has ever gone after MJF's parents before. And even though he says that he hates them, obviously that's what really got under his skin the most in this, for him to then throw Owen Hart out there as a retort.
Yeah.
So I liked that aspect of it. The whole call girl thing, that part I wasn't really a fan of. I think that could have been done better. But I liked Jarrett actually doing this because it was so different. And because of what he had said in the promo right before, which was I've said and done everything you've said and done, and I did it better than you. Because he's already playing into, oh, we were kind of one and the same in a sense. And I'm going to do you just as bad as you do me, even if it's going below the belt in that manner. Sometimes you've got to get it to you too. That's the call girl part was that I didn't agree with. That was okay, we don't have to say call girl. We can just say something else.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it was just again, it was just unnecessary. I understand why it happened, which is why I'm not so anti as some people were about it. But for me, it was just you could have cut all that bullshit out. And you still would have got to the same end result, and it probably would have been a more concise segment and probably a better segment. Even though understand, I don't think you're wrong. Nobody has really stooped down to MJF's. MJF always takes digs at people's families, at people's personal lives and stuff like that. And really, besides your fiance left you, blah, blah, blah. Besides that, nobody goes like that at MJF. You know what I mean? They all just go, oh, everybody hates you. You're a prick. And your fiance left you. That's really the only stuff they say about MJF. Whereas MJF will find the most personal details and he will dig and dig and dig. So I get it. I just felt like a lot of this promo was unnecessary a little bit.
I think that the part after this was unnecessary.
Wait, the brawl? Oh, you mean with him and Dustin?
Yeah,
I wasn't even going to mention it. I wasn't even going to talk about it. I was just going to. It was nothing. It was the nothing segment.
We're saying it was a nothing segment
for it. Yeah, and Ophelia's saying worse is relative too. So when I say that MJF has said worse stuff, I mean to some people, that is relative. She's I'm tired of the women being collateral damage and the slut shaming and stuff like that, which I understand completely. But MJF's will. I mean, that's again, I look at that that is who the character's been. Doesn't make it right, and I understand why people feel that way. But MJF has been that guy for 5 years. So it's kind of that's why I had more of a problem with the Jarrett part of it. I was you don't have to do this twice, dude. We expect it from this guy. We don't need the good guy doing that, whether it's proving a point or not. But the good guy doesn't need to be.
There are about 500 things in wrestling, not even just as wrestling storylines, but as personal wrestling matters that I could list that are worse.
Oh, of course.
So
of course.
I'm just it's so low on the totem pole for me.
Yeah. All right. So then we have Christian Cage versus Hook. I thought the match was fine. I thought Christian was excellent in this match. He's just so good. But I thought this match was fine. We talked, I think the problem here, and we discussed it a little bit last night, is there has been no in-ring progression with Hook at all.
Yeah.
Development, progression.
And I thought that him retiring the FTW title was going to mean that he was going to progress.
For sure.
But didn't.
Yeah.
And it's still about her dad at the end of the day.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where.
And I don't like that it's about his dad. when his dad can't do anything.
Well, yeah. Well, last night we had some. Yeah. This story is him getting his revenge for his dad. Christian's the one that took his dad out and all that stuff. I did like Taz at the desk for this. Obviously rooting for his son, but he was like, I'm trying to be I'm sorry. I'm trying to be professional.
Yeah.
I thought Taz was good at the desk here. I thought he added to the match. And again, I don't think this match was bad. I thought it was fine, but I kind of
see him back as on commentary too.
It was. I like Taz a lot in general, but I really like Taz at the table. But I need to see a little bit. I need to see a different type of match from Hook. I just need to see a different type of match from Hook because I feel like we've been seeing the same match all the time with Hook. And I don't know if it's a development thing. I don't know if it's just this is what they're saying. I don't know, but I feel like I need to see some progression from the in-ring performances of Hook because it feels like it's been the same stuff since we've seen him. And it worked when they were having him squash people to kind of build him up because he had that aura, as the kids say, and he looks cool and stuff like that. But he's been there for a little bit now. If you're going to have him doing longer matches, he needs to not wrestle like he's still squashing people. And I think that's the problem, is you're starting to have Hook have these longer matches, and he's still wrestling as if he's wrestling a squash match.
Right.
And it just doesn't come across well to me. Yeah, it doesn't come across well to me. Because I don't know. But again, I thought this match was fine. Shibata gets involved. So the patriarchy get involved, and then Shibata kind of evens up the odds. Hook hits Red Rum on Christian Cage, but the patriarchy gets in the ring and beat up Hook before Christian can tap. So Hook wins by DQ. And then the patriarchy swarms, and they're beating up Hook, and Taz has enough, and he says, you know what? I've had enough. He takes off he's yelling. It looks like he's going to get ready to get in there, even though we know he can't. Which is
actually why I thought he was back. Because he was going to get in the ring and do something.
Yeah. So he takes off he takes off his headset. He's yelling. And then all of a sudden, I thought the highlight of the show, the return of Samoa Joe, baby. Hell yeah. I would have loved it, David. I would have loved it. We've seen him do it before, but I would have loved it if he gave somebody a Taz mission. Maybe we'll get that, because obviously this is not the end of this, because Samoa Joe makes his return to help Hook and Shibata, but to help Hook, he gets out there, he dismantles the patriarchy one by one, and then he kind of holds Kip Sabian in place so Shibata can do the PK kick on him. And that's how it ends with Samoa Joe, Shibata, and Hook standing tall in the ring as the patriarchy runs off. So I would assume we're going to be getting a trios match at some point with Joe, Shibata, and Hook versus Kip Sabian, Nick Wayne, and Christian Cage. Oh, no. Really?
Oh, damn. Yeah. I just saw that.
Was that this morning? Like just now?
Like 30 minutes ago.
Oh, what a legend. I have to watch the Major League movies now. I got to watch the Major League movies now. God,
I even know who that guy is.
Yes, I feel you. I'm always going to pop for the walkaway spot by Samoa Joe. I'm always going to pop. It's tremendous. Damn, that stinks. R.I.P. Bob Uecker. Damn. Anyway, damn it. All right, let's continue. But yeah, so obviously Samoa Joe being back, Drew. I mean, just wonderful, wonderful. The highlight of the night. One of the highlights of the night. Do the trios match. That's cool. I wouldn't mind them being trios champs either, because I think the trios belts need to get away from the Death Riders, because what the hell are they doing? But Samoa Joe and Hook as a tag team as well. I'm all in on it, dude. I'm all in it. We talked about it last night. If we talk about the progression of in-ring of Hook, okay, well, if you're going to be doing a program where your partner or partners are Samoa Joe and Shibata, those are really two really good guys to learn from. Those are two really, really good guys to learn from. So I liked it. And Samoa Joe being back, we love Joe. I love Joe. So I liked that segment. Yeah. All right. We then fast forward and we have our number one contenders women's Casino Gauntlet match. I felt like this match should have been longer than it was. But with that being said, this match was a blast. I thought this match was very good. A lot of fun. Felt like it should have been given about 5 or 10 minutes longer. And there should have been more than 7 women, ideally, in it. However, I thought for the time they gave, I thought this was a very good gauntlet match.
Well, but the point of the gauntlet match is that it can end at any time.
And exactly. So like they protect themselves with the way the gauntlet. Like I saw some people saying, when we put out our graphic of the thumbnail with Toni Storm, our good buddy Matt was like, he said, I don't have a problem with Toni winning. It makes sense, but she lost last week. And then she's in this match when Britt Baker, Serena D, like he mentioned Sheeta. He mentioned a handful of names that weren't in this match. He was like, why does she get in this match after losing before these other women? And I think this is where the type of match it is and the way that they describe the type of match gives them an excuse, because they say, well, the match could end at any time. So they can come out next week and be like, oh yeah, all those women were ready. Like they were next. Sheeta was next, but the match ended before Sheeta was coming out. So that's how the match can go. So they kind of build in.
It'd be nice if they did like some sort of multi-person match based off of the people that didn't get to be in the gauntlet match. Yeah. Maybe like if the main one is for the top championship, then the second one could be for, where they're just all in the match together instead of it coming one by one.
Yeah.
That would be an interesting concept. Like, okay, you were in the match, the initial match gauntlet that now determined the world championship contender. Now the rest of them fight for like the TBS or the TNT championship.
Maybe. So Mariah May was on commentary for this match, and she was excellent.
She was
on commentary. She ruled.
Commentary.
Let her do more of that shit, please, because she was awesome on commentary. Chris Statlander, which we knew would be the number 1 entrant in this match, as she had won the triple threat match. And then Jamie Hayter is the second entrant. And we start off with Statlander and Hayter. Great pairing to start off with. I was pumped that they started off with these two. Really cool. And then the third entrant was technically the return, because she was on AEW Dark for a long time. But we saw Megan Bayne come out. And Megan Bayne, she looked like $1 million. The whole outfit, the entrance, the presentation, and she gets in the ring, and her and Statlander had a lady meet little segment in the match, because those are two bigger girls, and they were beating the crap out of each other, suplexes, lariats. Oh, it was awesome. So that was really good to see Megan Bayne. Julia Hart then came out 4th. Willow Nightingale came out 5th, and Willow was great as always in this match. Toni Storm, the young upstart, came out 6th. And then Harley Cameron, who, tremendous. How do you not like Harley Cameron? Harley Cameron came out 7th, and she was the last entrant because she came out, she kind of did her thing, and Julia Hart sprayed the mist in Harley Cameron's face. And it looked like Julia Hart was going to get the victory, but Toni Storm came out of nowhere with an inside cradle for the 1, 2, 3. She wins the gauntlet match. So she is the number 1 contender for the women's championship, and it will be her and Mariah May at Grand Slam in Australia, which they also announced last night, because we had been wondering. It is a TV special. It is not a PLE. They announced it last night. It is official. It's a TV special. They're showing it at 8 p.m. our time, so they're going to obviously record it and show it later, and not live when it's But one of the good lines, Mariah May at the table when Megan Bayne came out, she said, "What does she eat for breakfast? Babies?" That was quite a line. But I will say, these gauntlet matches, this is a good match that AEW has. They know how to book these matches. These matches are always fun. I feel like there really hasn't been a bad one. Again, I would have liked to have seen more ladies and this go longer. But again, for the 13.5 minutes, whatever they gave it, this was a lot of fun. The ladies showed out. This was a lot of fun. And Toni Storm gets the win. It's going to be her and Mariah May once again for the title in Toni Storm's home country of Australia. Should be a good one. At the end of the match, Mariah May was downright just excited that Toni Storm won. She was smiling. She was clapping. All sorts of things. How'd you feel about?
They did a backstage thing after
Yeah.
the show that I saw this morning.
Yeah.
Where she's like, "So, what do you think about?" Somebody asked her, like, "Oh, so what do you think about Toni Storm winning?" And she's just like laughing about it and clapping, whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
very much playing it off.
This is how it should be.
Yeah.
I'm very happy, and I said this last night. It's coming, and she doesn't realize it because Mariah. I think what's happening, and I thought about this morning, even after we talked about it last night. I think that what's going to be revealed here is that Toni Storm, while she is timeless Toni Storm playing the role of rookie Toni Storm,
yeah,
it's also going to be revealed that she's basing her character's inspiration is Mariah May before Mariah May turned on timeless Toni Storm.
Yeah.
So what I want, or I said last night, was what I want from this is I want before Grand Slam, Toni Storm, because what she'd been doing, they've posted like backstage stuff of her like going up to Dustin, going up to a couple of other people, Luther even at one point. Like introducing herself, like this is like her first time that she's really ever seeing them, and she's playing like that rookie role very to perfection, really.
Yep.
And what should happen is she should go to Mariah May now and do exactly what Mariah May did to Toni when Mariah first came on the scene.
Yeah.
Be like, "Hey, have you watched my matches?" It's just like that extra little layer of it, calling back to when Mariah first showed up. And Mariah is completely oblivious to this, just like timeless Toni Storm was. So it's role reversing perfectly in the story. That eventually, I'm thinking maybe the Dynamite before Grand Slam, the reveal is shown that Timeless is going to come back and probably with a shoe, just like Mariah did. Attack her with the shoe and bloody her to set up the match where Timeless Toni Storm's grand return will be at Grand Slam and in her hometown. And maybe she wins the belt back. I don't know who's going to win that match.
Yeah. Well, we have Johnny in the chat. He says he wants Toni to lose in Australia. He wants to keep this rookie thing going. So he would like Toni to lose in Australia.
So the question now, as is on our thumbnail and the name of this show today, is it's so dark here. I thought it was nighttime. Is it too early for this Toni Storm run, this rookie Toni Storm right now? Personally, I don't think so.
I don't think so. Again, like I know she hasn't been around. Like it's only been a month and a half or so. Like in this iteration of Toni Storm, she's Toni Storm, dude. Like she's been around for a while, like a long time. Like
she's not. Contrary to
I don't. Yeah.
The rumor is right now. She's not actually a rookie.
Yeah. Yeah. Like we all know that. Like we all know. Like we're playing along because we like it and we like Toni Storm. You know, but like we all know that this is not real. She's not really only wrestled 4 or 5 matches. She's one of the best. She won she was number 1 on the PWI 500 list of women's wrestlers last year. Number 1. She's one of the best wrestlers in the world. We know that this character, the rookie Toni Storm, is a shtick. So why does this actually need to go long? Like the people, whatever, dude, feel how you feel. It's subjective. But the people that were like, actually like, this is too soon. What do you mean? It's too soon. She feuded with Mariah May for like a fucking year last year. It was like half the year she feuded with Mariah. Like the story was the whole year last year.
I mean, the
what do you mean
feuding
too
part
soon?
was really just like a month and a half to 2 months.
Yeah.
But they were involved with each other.
They were involved with that story for almost the whole calendar year last year. What do you mean it's too soon? That doesn't make sense to me. What do you need this version of Toni Storm to like wrestle and win a lot of matches for 6 months? Why? She could have came back as Toni Storm and
character right now.
You know what I mean? Like she could have came back as timeless Toni Storm right out the jump and got a match right away, and none of us would have complained.
No,
none of us would have complained. We all would have loved it, but she came back and they're doing something different, which for the consensus I'm seeing, we all like what they're doing with the rookie stuff. We all think it's kind of funny and good and entertaining. And we're going to what? It's her home country. What do you think was going to happen? I don't get it. To me, that feels like people complaining just to complain. To me.
Yeah.
To me. But I don't know. I don't have a problem with it. It's Toni Storm. I wouldn't necessarily mind her losing though.
No,
I think that could be fun, losing in the home country, like really putting her like down in the dumps. Like maybe, what if she loses in her home country and that's the thing that makes her go back to Timeless? Is she big moment in your home country? She gets embarrassed or she just loses, or it could be something like that. And that really gets her down to rock bottom. I do like your angle of like where this is Toni Storm playing the role of a lifetime as rookie. Like this is Timeless playing, and I do like that. That could easily work with the character we saw, because Timeless Toni Storm was a performance the whole time. Like they definitely played it off that way. I like that. But what if she loses and she hits her rock bottom, and that is like the step that either
what caused her to become Timeless Toni Storm in the first place?
I don't remember. I don't remember the exact thing that caused it, but I think she lost her title, right? She lost the title to Jamie Hayter. Right?
That was it?
I don't know if it was exactly that, but I feel like she lost the title to Jamie Hayter, and then it wasn't terribly after that she started diving into this, right? Or was she kind of doing nothing for a little bit? Right. Or did she lose maybe a couple title matches after that? But I feel like it wasn't that much after that she dove into the Timeless character. But I feel like it had something to do after that. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, see, Sunday Center says, I don't think anything really caused it. It just kind of slowly slipped into it. But I feel like it was once she lost the title, which she lost to Hayter, right? At All In, the first All In.
Yeah.
She lost to Hayter. Hey, Tom. Tom talks rubbish in the chat. What's going on, friend? Hope you're doing well. All right. Obviously, we already talked about the main event.
I'm going to answer your DM. I didn't forget about you.
There you go. I know we talked. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Johnny, I agree. Like I'm enjoying everything she's doing. I think it's really good. And I think that match in Australia is going to rule. It's going to rule, man. And it's going to be really good.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we get out of here, because we talked about the main event already.
Yeah. Thank God. We don't have to talk about it again.
But I do want to talk about Jon Moxley, though. Because he did an interview with Yahoo Sports, and he had a lot of really telling quotes.
Oh God.
And I wanted your opinion on it. Why? Were you going to try to talk to me about something?
Not about. I just thought we were ending the show.
No, we're not ending the show yet. We went very super short on Tuesday, unfortunately, so we owe it to the people. Okay. So Mox did an interview with Yahoo Sports. And he was asked, "Am I keeping you awake? Do you want to leave? Do you want me to do it?"
You can. I'm listening. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's very, very professional, Drew. So he goes. They were talking about storytelling, and this was a quote. He goes, "Storytelling is always needed. It's essential. It's non-negotiable.
Yeah,
it's a vital.
It'd be nice if it was being done right now."
Well, this is why I wanted to talk about it. This is quotes. He goes, "It's a vital element to wrestling. You need a hook. How much more do you enjoy sports when you have an investment in who the person is or the story of the season? Wrestling is no different. You're not going to pick up a book that has a bunch of descriptions of random objects or events. There has to be a story or a thread that will take you on a ride. Quote, we're building. It's about a lot more than what happens in the ring. Building something sustainable for the future that we can take pride in. We've been doing that for the past few months. It's about a mindset and an approach.
Who's been doing that for the past few months?
I'm just sharing the quotes. Yeah. I never worked with a guy who talks about wrestling who hates wrestling as much as Drew. It's a thing of beauty.
I know I'm a unique fellow.
It is. It's about a mindset and an approach of taking pride in what we do. We have a lot of guys and girls that are a part of it. I'm pretty proud, but it's a long game, and it's little tiny victories every day and a constant learning process. It's really exciting. He continues. Anytime you step into the ring, anytime you get the camera pointed at you with the light on, anytime you do anything, it's going to be whatever you make it. Everybody's a good wrestler in AEW. I don't know if there's ever been a roster assembled of this many purely great get in the ring and wrestle pro wrestlers. There's so much more to it, though. To put yourself in a position to use those skills and capitalize with them, you can see some guys evolving to the next level beyond just being good wrestlers. It's very gratifying to see. And then he goes, that thing with Orange, he's one of those guys where you see him growing and evolving. You see this larger than life aspect coming out of him. You see it right before your eyes. You don't even have to look at him. You can see it in the audience. And when he comes out, you see it happening. That's the kind of thing that's hard to put into words, but you know he's got it. That's the thing we have to foster and cultivate. We can't just throw him out there. It's a seed that has to be watered and grown. So those were the two quotes that he did with Yahoo Sports talking about storytelling and things of that nature. And then he also did another local interview for Cincinnati where he talks about AEW. So this is separate quotes where he says, we're in the middle of the history books right now. And we have our hands on the controls and we have the pen. We can write whatever the fuck we want. And it's very exciting. This is a business built on carnival sideshows. We've got to take a lot of this old carny business, the brother this, brother that kind of bullshit carny attitude, because that attitude is how they've scammed fans out of money. This is not what this sport is nowadays. We grew up wanting to be wrestlers. This is all we've ever wanted to be. This is our craft. This is our life. We take it very seriously and we take pride in it. Getting rid of that attitude in the industry is a big part of what we've been trying to do here at AEW. And then the last quote, he says, I don't work for AEW. That's what he said. I don't work for AEW. I work for all of the people that need this place to succeed. That's the way I look at it. For this place to succeed, we've got to operate at the highest level at every level. That's what we accept if you're going to be a part of this team. I feel a responsibility to these people because to be successful in wrestling, they've given and sacrificed their lives for the pursuit of this, as I have. I am but a servant to the pursuit of helping the whole thing, raising it up and bringing along as many people as we can. It's making me better and helping me learn a lot. And those were the comments that Mox said.
Cool story, bro. Anyway,
yeah. So when you hear those comments and he's talking about storytelling, and then we see the story they're telling, do you feel like those comments correlate?
No.
With the story they're telling at all?
Absolutely not.
Okay. That's why I wanted to bring it up, because I feel like not so much the back half part of it where he's kind of being the pro AEW guy. Like, that's fine. I view Mox as probably Mr. AEW. Like, he's been the top guy, like the top soldier there for the most amount of time, or like since the beginning, basically. But the stuff about the storytelling, and you need a hook, and you need all these things.
I'm shocked.
I feel like
we
that's
actually
missing.
gained and didn't lose viewers while you were talking.
Why would we? You don't have to be here, bro, if you don't want to be here, bro. If you got to go, you go.
No, I'm saying that.
Jeez Louise.
Tony, John's just like talking out of his ass there. Really.
That's why I wanted to bring it up. That's why I wanted to bring it up.
You just wanted to get me. You wanted to get me more negative. That's what happened here.
No,
after railing about me being negative.
I wanted you to. And I think Sunday Sinner is good in the chat right here. He goes, the crazy part is we know AEW can tell good stories. We've seen it with Tony and Mariah, Swerve and Hangman, but for some reason, this one they can't get. They can't get it right
because it's been a guy who. Listen, you're gonna make me scream. I don't want to scream. Okay, you do a great job at that.
Yeah, David. The reason why he hasn't is because he's ass. Anyway, continue.
Ryback is fucking trash.
Oh, he's awful. So bad. Why would you want to see? I mean, hey, you like what you like, but what the hell? Ryback? Jesus Christ. Terrible. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, you know what you're doing here.
Yeah, I do.
Okay? You're trying, you're railing against me being negative.
Correct.
And now you're trying to elicit a negative response from me.
I got to elicit something out of you.
What do you mean? I've elicited a bunch.
If somebody tuned into this show for the first time and they saw your ass leaning back like that, I would have left the show immediately.
Well, I said that what is this? Already an hour and 40 minutes into the show.
Well, that's why we already talked about the main event. We go 2 hours here. There we go. We got to stretch this shit out. So, the next 2 weeks, we're not going to be able to give the people what they want in proper shows here, which I'm upset about. Tuesday, we couldn't give them a proper show because of me. So we're giving them a proper show today.
Yeah. By killing me all. That's what you're doing. You're killing me here. That's how you're giving us a proper show. I don't ever want to hear those words come out of Jon Moxley again. If you truly think that the storytelling and all that stuff matters, then get rid of that fucking title because you don't deserve to have it right now. If that's what you think. If that's what you really think, and this is the type of storytelling that you're into, what the fuck are you talking about? That is insane that those words came out of that guy.
Mm-hmm.
This is absolutely not how you tell a coherent, compelling, good story. This is a story that's driving people away from this fucking company. So to say what you just said is you deserve an award for bullshit. That was 100% bullshit. 100% bullshit. And I don't know if it's coming from you, Jon Moxley. I don't know if it's coming from Tony Khan. I don't know who the hell it's coming from. But the way you're telling this, apparently RJ City was in charge of the story a while. That was a report a while back. I don't know.
Wait, in charge of the Death Riders? I know he's doing the Mariah Tony stuff. He was in charge of this too.
Yeah. That could have been wrong.
Maybe he was in charge because I feel like RJ City has a pulse on things as a human.
Whoever
maybe at the beginning he was.
RJ City's in charge
at the beginning, this was good. We were all into this at the beginning. We were all into this in the beginning. And then it just has just
So I don't know if RJ City started it and Tony Khan or Jon Moxley took it over. Listen, you want to get to the real fucking shit about this? You want to get to the real shit? Jon Moxley was gonna leave this fucking place if he didn't get this title. If you want to get really, really down to the whole nitty-gritty of this whole thing, okay? Listen, everybody. This is out there. This news is out there already. Jon Moxley took his fucking ball and went home because the story wasn't going the way that he wanted to last year. And this title run is the reason to keep him there. That's really it.
Could be. This is
not me revealing something crazy. This stuff has been out there.
Yeah, it's been kind of See, Joe.
The thing is that
he's yelling at me. Why do we have to talk about this? This is exactly why we need to talk about this.
This guy has been on my ass about being negative, and now this is what he wanted all along, it seemed.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you're getting the negativity. Congratulations.
This is the shit that pays the bills, Drew.
Congratulations.
This is the shit that pays the bills, man.
So the next time
Not
I'm
that
negative, I don't want to hear
happy-go-lucky-
your bullshit. Okay? If this is what pays the bills.
I don't disagree.
I could be as negative as fucking possible.
I don't disagree with anything you're saying. We are on a platform called Love Wrestling, though. So let's try to,
it doesn't sound like love right now.
Well, no, I feel like we loved more of that like we were very positive about that episode of Dynamite, besides a few things. I feel like we were positive for the majority. But look at some point, there's no if an angle is bad, an angle is bad, man. We can try to be as positive. We can try to be as positive as we want about it, but I don't see anybody saying they're enjoying this angle anymore. I just don't. And again, we love all the guys involved in it. You want Moxley,
I don't
Claudio,
know if I love that guy right now. Honestly.
Moxley, Claudio, Pac, Wheeler Yuta. I like the people involved in it, but this has been going nowhere. Nowhere. And again, if it's a lot, let it play out, brother. You know what I mean? Like, let it play out, fine. But it's been playing out for the last 2 months, and no strings have been playing, man. The music is not good coming out of the stereo. So you either need to change the track or do something, because we got to figure this out.
Yeah,
we got to figure.
I don't know if I really love Jon Moxley right now, because when I heard about that story about how he was like, nah, I don't want to be in this tag title tournament with Claudio if we're not going to win last year, and then fucks off to New Japan to go and win that title around the Forbidden Door time last year, and then loses that title and fucks off again for a few months until it's time to do the Death Riders thing. You don't get to just come into the company and do whatever you want to do.
But when it's established that the owner allows you to do that, then you can.
Well, yeah, and that's Tony Khan's problem.
That's the problem.
To snap the fuck out of it and become a real boss and tell these people what to do. Tell Jon Moxley, sorry, you know what? This isn't what I planned right now. And if you're not happy about it, tough shit. Tough fucking shit. Sorry, Darby. You want to go kill yourself on fucking Mount Everest when I want to put the world title on you? Tough shit. Now you got me angry.
There we go. And that's how we're going to end the show. So there we go. See? He acts like I don't know what I'm doing. He acts like I don't know what I'm doing. Good stuff.
Hot now.
Yeah. So again, at the end of the day, a lot of these comments, a lot of the comments I don't have a problem with, because it is Mox being an AEW guy. He's talking about the group, the roster they have, which is strong. He's talking about the future and all that stuff, that type of stuff that, I work for everybody here. Like, I don't have a problem with that. Really, the first part, when you're saying that storytelling is essential and we need to do things differently and we need to get out of the old school way of doing things, and then you're in an angle that is going nowhere. And according to all reports, it's an angle that, like, you're booking. Like, Moxley's the guy that's running this angle from all, like, he's very, very heavily involved in what is happening. And I'm not saying he doesn't deserve the right to be involved. Clearly.
No,
he does.
I mean, everybody should have a hand in their own stories, because that's what makes it feel more realistic. You're in tune with your character.
100%. 100%. It's just very weird. It's just very weird. And I read those comments. I think it was earlier this morning as I was looking at my notes. I was like, oh, Mox did an interview. I didn't read that. And then I was just like, oh, and then I read them and I was like, that whole storytelling thing feels like a complete contradiction to what I'm seeing on TV.
Complete fucking bullshit.
A complete contradiction. But anyway, now that Drew's angry, he's going to go to work and he's going to be pissed. And I'm going to love it. I'm going to love it. So now
I don't want to hear anything about me being negative again.
Listen, I just want you to tell everybody how you truly feel. I don't want you to hide your feelings. I don't want you to hide your feelings. You
want me to hide my feelings?
Yeah.
If I really give my true feelings about everything, there may be problems.
Yeah.
So I need to not say everything.
Yeah. Look at Johnny liked it.
Well,
Johnny
you
liked
might
it.
see it again the next time you see me on this show, which isn't going to be next week.
Yeah, Johnny liked it. All right. Yes. So there is going to be, okay. Pay attention to our socials.
2 weeks is a little crazy for
us,
the
next 2 weeks in our shoot lives, and things of that nature. The jobs are getting in the way of a few things. So we're finalizing some stuff. Next week's Firmly WWE will probably be a taped show. I think we're gonna have to record it after Raw. Maybe we can just say maybe we can just say F it and go live after Raw. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We're either gonna record it after Raw and it will be shown at 10 a.m. like you expect, or maybe we'll just say F it and go live after Raw. But pay attention to the socials. Firmly WWE is gonna be like that. Firmly AEW, I am gonna have a guest with me next week because Drew will not be here, but I will be live and I will have a guest. So pay attention to my socials, the Firmly LW social. And then the following week, which we'll talk about more next week, but the following week, Firmly WWE should go on as planned on that Tuesday. But that Thursday, I will be flying to Indianapolis for the Royal Rumble. So Drew will be on here with the guest. So the next couple episodes of Firmly AEW will be me with the guest next week, and then the following week will be Drew with the guest. And then Firmly WWE next week will be either recorded or live, maybe after Raw. Most likely recorded, but we'll see. But just pay attention to Firmly LW on the social medias. Pay attention. Follow Drew and I, which we'll do our plugs here in a minute.
Yes. And you can, right, yeah. My job has led next week to be bad for me on Firmly, on the Firmly brand. And then, yeah, so the JPJ is going to pick his guest for next week's Firmly AEW. I will be missing, unfortunately, Firmly AEW for the first time.
I feel like Drew needs it. So
ironically, I might, but it's not even.
Drew might need it. Drew might need it. Yeah, Drew might.
My job is requiring me in the morning the next week, so I cannot be present. Mm-hmm. Which is why we have to record or go live for Firmly WWE at night.
Mm-hmm.
But then the following week, I will be back for the full set of shows.
Mm-hmm.
Jay will not be at Firmly AEW, and my guest, I will, formally announce on my socials, but you'll know already. My guest is this guy, Mr. Dan Brown. Dan Brown will be joining me on Firmly AEW in 2 weeks in place of JPJ.
We love Dan.
I'm very excited for that. Dan is an awesome guy, very funny, and I'm excited to chat AEW with him.
Very funny. He is a stand-up comedian.
I know. Yeah.
So very, very funny. Yeah, he's been on Beards. We love him. That's a good idea, Eric. That would have been fun if we thought about that first. Eric's like, you guys should pick each other's guests. That would have been fun. Like if we didn't know who each other's guests were, but we picked, so we just got on here and our guest was there and we were just like, oh shit. All right, cool. All right.
Yeah.
That would have been fun. But all right. So that's how the next few weeks are going to look here. So, a little bit different. But it's going to be good.
Oh, sure. Dan Brown. That's cool. Yeah, you've been to some Dan Brown shows.
You've been to a couple of Dan Brown shows. Oh, damn. Well, he's cool. He's a lot of fun. He's always in our chats. He's very supportive of us here at Firmly and just love wrestling. And me and Plug on Beards. He's always in our chat. He's hopped on a few times. He's great. He is a great individual. So that's going to be a good get for you. I will share my get with everybody when I start asking people, which will be probably the morning of like the night before the show. But I will figure it out.
If I had to pick a guest for you, if we were going by what Eric said, I might actually maybe go with this guy.
Maybe. Who knows? I can be bought. So if you are listening in the chat or just watching this and you're like, oh, I would like to be on that show, hit up my DMs. You want to throw me some money or, I can be bought. It can be bought. But on that note, we got to get out of here. Drew, plug your stuff and then we'll do the damn thing and get out of here.
You can follow me where I'm much more vocal about many things, wrestling and not wrestling. At the Drew Nicholas on Twitter and Blue Sky. And I collect the super chats and humper chats for AEW, for Fightful's AEW Collision Post Show on Saturday nights with Rick Creston and Iridian. And I'm on the Roundtable Pro Wrestling podcast with the thorn in my side, who I just said should maybe be your co-host next week, Sunday Center. And yeah, that's my plug.
Hell yeah. You can follow me at JPJ Loves Gaming on all social media platforms, including Twitch and YouTube. Drew, you know where you guys can find us. You guys are always in our chat supporting us and just being awesome. But you know where you can find me and Drew every Tuesday and Thursday morning here at Love Wrestling at 10 a.m. for Firmly Love Wrestling. Tonight, 8 p.m., Thursday nights, every Thursday night at 8 p.m. The flagship show here at Love Wrestling, Between Two Beards. We got a big one tonight. We got Big Ben Ortman's finally joining us on Between Two Beards. He's been a friend of the show forever. We've been trying to get him on forever. He's on with us tonight. He's wrestling with LPW at the end of the month. He's fighting Michael Richard Blaze for the LPW Challenge Championship. We're going to be talking a lot about that. We're going to be talking a lot about Ben's career as he's on the road towards the end of it. He's, so we're going to be very excited to be talking about him and talking about his match that he has with us at LPW NMRB. Obviously, if you are fans of ours in the chat, I know some of you are, for our football show, me and Pluggo have. We usually do it on Wednesdays, but because of some schedule conflicts yesterday, we're doing that today as well. So Pluggo and I will be live at 5 p.m. Eastern time on our at B2 Beards, the Between Two Beards, Twitter and Facebook pages, and we'll be previewing this week's NFL playoff games and talking about last week's results and things of that nature. So if you're a football fan, come chat some football with Pluggo and I at 5 p.m. Yes, Spencer just said it for you, Eric. It's the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast. Oh, it was you. That was you. All right, yeah. Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast. Eric, that's where you can find him and Sunday Center. But other than that, great show as always today, guys. Appreciate everybody in the chat. We'll see y'all soon. Drew and I will see you in some form Monday or Tuesday. Follow Firmly Love Wrestling. That's where we will kind of, once we finalize our plans, we will put everything out there so you guys can stay in tune with what we're doing. So everybody have a good rest of your Thursday. I should see all of you tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern time for Beards. All of you. Other than that, till Tuesday.
Or Monday night.
Yeah, one of them. You know the drill. Peace out.